Okay, everyone. I I need to go ahead and preface this whole thing with perhaps the Zen Master made a mistake in looking at the roster of the person that I have ranked at number 8 on the preseason BMD Zen Master rankings. I think I made an error. I wasn't trying to predict some crazy upset, bad news bears, as you so eloquently put it, but I could have sworn that I saw one more positive in the wide receiver section. So I guess I was wrong. Nonetheless, let's move on. Number 8 on the BMD preseason Zen Master power rankings is Stovepipe. Now, I know this is a little ridiculous. Stovepipe. Let's look at this Stovepipe franchise. The owner, one of the worst owners. I think this is universal throughout the league. We can all, one of probably the only things we could all agree upon is, Stove's one of the worst owners in the history of the league. I think he's been kicked out multiple times, brought back in due to bitching and whining and moaning and saying that he won't be friends with anybody anymore if he can't come back in, even though he didn't pay any attention to his franchise and only drafts and trades for Steelers players. And uh, also prefaced his entry into the league when I had mentioned about we might have an opening coming up, and there was a laundry list of people waiting to get into the BMD, and Stover had jumped to the top of that because initially when he first got to Offutt, he had said, "Yeah, skilled fantasy football player, the best at his knowledge, the best that he had ever known." He said he was not unlike the Steeler franchise of the 70s, multiple championships, and would basically dominate our entire league. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, this would probably be someone good to bring in. Uh, Unfortunately, just like the German people, we were duped. And, he was not unlike Hitler in that, well, he was unlike Hitler because Hitler kind of dominated, at least for a little while. Stove has dominated nothing except the bottom of the league. And that's what he's dominated. He's dominated the first 4 picks every year in the rookie draft. But that's all in the past. It looks like Stover has learned perhaps the error of his ways. It looks like he's learned not to trade with Buck. I think he's he and don't get all butt hurt, Buck. It's just some people don't like to be raped, and some people can see rape on the surface, and some people can't. So what can you do? No big deal. Um, so let's look at his team real quick. Got wide or quarterbacks: Jay Cutler, Ben Roethlisberger. Pretty good quarterbacks. Can't argue with any of that. Especially Roethlisberger going to be airing it out this season, even more so than usual with Arians having been there, and then what's his nuts there now. And then Brandon Whedon for the next few years, or in the next couple of years. Now running backs, this is where he has sucked ass worse than Neighbor sucks ass. But now he got Trent Richardson. He finally got a good running back. D'Angelo Williams, he pretty much got proper fucked on that. D'Angelo Williams should be a starting running back in this league, but I don't know what Carolina's doing with their running back situation. It's insane there. I don't get it. But he's got D'Angelo Williams, Trent Richardson, Ronnie Hillman. And I think Ronnie Hillman's going to be the starter there in Denver before the season's over with, and then be the starter for the future. So he's got one stud. Well, we assume him to be a stud. I don't think anybody will argue that Trent Richardson's going to be pretty fucking awesome. Ronnie Hillman's going to be pretty good. And then, of course, D'Angelo Williams, hopefully next year, will be going somewhere. But this is this season. And I still think D'Angelo Williams has plenty of value. Now, moving on to wide receivers, Jonathan Baldwin has a potential, but again, who knows what's going to happen with Bo. His main highlights are Eric Dicker. Or Dicker. I've been up for a little while. Eric Decker. Um, I think he's going to have a great fucking seasons with Peyton Manning there now. Going to blow up. I actually think Eric Decker to be the better receiver there in Denver overall. And then of course Mike Wallace, and I think most people agree Mike Wallace is going to play. And then his backups, he's got he drafted AJ Jenkins, but I'm not a believer in AJ Jenkins. Malcolm Floyd has a little more value there in San Diego now, but they did bring in some other receivers, Meacham and whatnot. So his main highlight, and then he's got Anquan Bolden, who's a great, high end wide receiver 3, low end wide receiver 2. So although he doesn't have the stud wide receivers that say Neighbor has, or well, Ingles doesn't have anything, so I don't know. But the stud wide receivers that Neighbor has, I think he's in a little better position, slightly better position at running back, and then wide receivers, although aren't studly, they're run the mill average, but just a better balance overall, maybe. Again, I do apologize because I thought he had one more stud wide receiver, but nonetheless, I stick to my rankings. Tight ends, got a great young tight end in Kyle Rudolph, and then Heath Miller's been consistent, not studly or anything. Linebackers, he finally got away from having every single Pittsburgh player, so that's good. Curtis Lofton, pretty beastly. Paul Posluszny, when healthy, is beastly. And then Darrell Washington there in Arizona has been a beast too. And Lamar Woodley does all right. Safety's pretty good. Cortland Finnegan gets a lot of passes thrown his way, so he gets plenty of tackles. So overall, that is why Stovepipe is coming in at number 8. Stove. Now, suggestion, free advice. Get your thumb out of your asshole. Play a good season. Maybe make a trade. To better, your team overall running back or wide receiver, either one, and keep your draft picks. And I think you're going to be drafting in the lower mid tier next year. You'll be able to get a good wide receiver at that point, one of the better wide receivers most likely, and continue building your team. So even though you started out pretty horrible and you lied to everyone, and everyone should hate you for that, and but you're doing a lot better now, so good job. But you still suck ass and you're still horrible. And I don't like anything about you. And I don't think anybody in the league likes anything about you. Uh, so consider quitting and letting someone else who won't lie to get into the league, let them in the league. But congratulations on being number 8 on the preseason BMD Zen Master preseason rankings. Yes, son of a bitch. Coming up tomorrow, number 7. And I don't know who that'll be. It's pretty tight. Not unlike, no, unlike, no, not unlike, yeah, unlike Stover's butthole. See that gay reference I did there? You see what I did there, Dom? Yeah.